Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great time. And welcome to In Harmony with Ershad. So I think before I start the show, there's a bit of a housekeeping that it's well overdue because I haven't been around for a while and you haven't seen me on screen with In Harmony with Ershad. But we've been taking a little bit of break here and there. And the main reason, as I always say, the reason we have this show, In Harmony with Ershad, so we can bring people in harmony with each other throughout the world. And the medium we had chosen, and we always do it because of my background as well as a musician, and it's always had been music. But the thing is that over the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking there are a lot of other interesting art forms that can connect us together throughout the world. And one of them is poetry. And with that end in view, today we have a very special program, and we have a very interesting poetry group, British Bangladeshi Poetry Collective, BBPC, in a short form. So from England, who have been in operation for the last 6 to 7 years. And we will be having a very special episode tonight of In Harmony with Ershad, and speaking with them about their operation and what they have been doing in the last couple of years and how they have progressed and what's special or what they have in the pipeline. We'll be discussing about this one because after all the years of different operations and what they have been doing in the community, in the wider community, I would rather say, and they have finally managed, I would say, to join in a very prestigious drama festival organized by Tower Hamlets Council. It's called the Season of Bangla Drama, and it's running for the last 18 years. And this year, being a poetry group, it's a success for BBPC that they have joined this. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite everyone or the people who have started it or the founding members of BBPC. And I would like to mention, I'm a member of BBPC myself, so that's a privilege for me as well. So I'd like to invite everyone of BBPC now. And we have, first of all, the very special lady, as you can see, and everyone knows her face, SHAMIM AZAD, none other than. And we have FARAH Naz, and we have EESHITA AZAD. So you'll see the designation and the name, so it'll be easier for everyone to understand. So we already know SHAMIM Appa, a prominent poet in our community and in Bangladesh, in the UK. She's also the chairperson of BBPC. And FARAH Naz we have in no particular order. I'm just going through from right to left, and it's just totally in random order. So we have FARAH Naz. She's a director of BBPC, and she's a poet herself as well. And the interesting thing is that today, next to my name, we can see it's Ershad ALAMGIR, presenter and poet as well. So it's everyone has turned into a poet, and we are poets. That's why we are part of BBPC. And last but not the least, we have EESHITA AZAD. She is one of the directors and a poet herself. So welcome, everyone. It's nice to see you all. And SHAMIM Appa, definitely, you have started it all. And how long has it been? I mean, how long have you been in operation? It's been last 6, 7 years?
Yes, Farah might come up with the year. Before that, can I say, thank you, Ershad, for having us on.
It's our privilege.
It is an opportunity. We consider it's an opportunity because we are heading towards a big show.
Yeah.
And this will give us a big profile to the people unknown. And here we are, the whole group, including you. And probably this is the first time we whole group are visible online together. Before
exactly. Because interesting thing, we have been doing it on Zoom. We have done our rehearsals as well during the lockdown. But now people will get a flavor of that from what we have been doing in the last couple of years.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, the company that we have, British Bangladeshi Poetry, Farah is the co-founder. You can say that she remembers everything. I just pretend as if I know everything. Farah, what was the year?
So you are trying to get away and asking me indirectly, Ershad, direct all your hard questions to us, Farah, right?
Absolutely.
I get it. Okay, Farah, over to you now. First of all, it started, am I right in saying that it started 6 years ago?
Actually, exactly 5 years ago.
Okay.
So thank you for inviting us. It's a privilege being here. And
Definitely,
thank you,
Farah.
Shamija,
My
Azad,
privilege as
for
well for
letting
you.
me be with you, for letting me hold the flagship of the BPPC. It's a privilege. So basically how we started. So in 2015, Shamim Azad wanted to have an art hub in the Bangla Mela, like, the Boishaki Bangla Mela, because
Yeah,
there were poets around and they always wanted, like, to perform the way the singers and other singers perform on the big stage, but it wasn't possible for a poet to perform on the big stage. So the
definitely.
opportunity came, and Shamim Azad invited all the poets, and working with the Tower Hamlet Council, Ruxana helped us a lot. Ruxana said, okay, we will have a art and poet hub on the opposite side of the main stage. So since then, 2015, the poetry hub started. And when we started to perform in the poetry hub, it's not only BPPC, because she invited each and every poets and all the cultural group who were not in the main stage, but they
Yeah.
also hold the same cultural values and wanted to promote Bengali art and culture, and who are into writing poetry, writing other forms of art like
But
theater
was it
or
more Bengali poetry at the time?
it
No,
wasn't Bengali, it was everyone,
And
we
all
invited
different communities
everybody.
as well,
Yeah.
not Bangladeshi.
no.
Okay,
Can
Everybody
I
was
come
invited.
into that, Farah?
Of
please.
course, of course.
Farah, can I come into that? There is a
Sure.
slight correction. I had been working with the Boishaki Festival since it started, which is 1998. I'm too old. And since then, I have been trying to sort of, put things in there in our menu. So the people here in this country, they get the flavor of our culture or pure literature. It had been a long hurdle. And that's why, we started from Vishwa Sahitya Kendra, the Boylit Festival. But then again, when they were doing it on the what is it, Weaver's Field, and I thought, why don't we have a hub? That's what Farah was saying, and my intention was that to include the poets, because I'm merely a poet. I'm primarily a poet, and I saw when I started working for that, I saw that, as you said, that in the community level we have done quite a lot, but towards the mainstream we need to move on. And the vehicle is English.
Yeah.
And the second generation, third generation Bengali, they are writing in English. And our first opportunity was Boishaki Mela. Then we got together. We thought, it went very well. We should give it a good shape. Then we
Okay.
started moving on into prestigious places.
And at what point did we have Ishita in the group as well? Because she was busy with her own projects, I understand, quite globally in different places, Bangladesh, USA, and Ishita finally joined. And what year was that, Ishita?
That was last year.
Last year.
Last August, I came back. Basically, I relocated to UK after a 10 years gap. And I said, because I don't know how to say this, but it's almost like a cliche, but I'm also a poet. So and so my interest was in BBPC from the beginning. And I think, so I got involved.
Poetry, I think, in Bangladesh, I can say, especially speaking for Bangladesh, probably, there are two occasions definitely people try to become a poet: when they fall in love or when they fall out of love. I think these are especially for everyone, people
Because
who are not.
that's the quickest form.
That's the quickest
form of literature.
So, which was for any of you that, I mean, Shamim, we know you're very versatile. It doesn't really apply on you, but probably I'm asking everyone else.
Well, when you asked the question, the first thing Farah did was no. So I think we believe in BBPC that although yes, maybe especially with people with Bangladeshi heritage, Bengali heritage, poetry is an expression of love, as simple as that. And you can be 12 and writing your first love poem to the girl next door. But I mean, I guess we really believe that poetry is a form of expression of inner self. So
Language
whatever
of the
we are,
subconscious, probably. Yeah.
absolutely, it's language of the subconscious. It can be language of your inner self that is struggling to come out, and no other form really, because we're very defensive as human beings. We don't want to be naked in front of another person's eyes, literally speaking. So poem gives you that বাংলায় বললে বলে যে একটা আড়ালো থাকে, আবার you can come out and say it. And then it's out of your system in the world, and that's actually quite therapeutic, as you said.
Yeah. And Shamimapa, so when it started for you, I mean, everyone knows Shamimapa, you are a versatile poet. And it's really now, as you mentioned, it's quite a cliche now if I say that when it started for you, this question doesn't really apply for you. But still, it would be interesting to know how you started.
I mean, I just said that I'm purely a poet. Also, I think in this country, I represent my community. I'm a member of the community. So as a member of the community, when those communities are not robust yet, you try to find out the ways and means to move on. And when you do that, you see that moving towards mainstream, you need to do some voluntary work in a way which may not be regarded as community level, which is a bit higher. And you learn the skills, you learn how to approach, you learn the procedure, you learn how to focus, you learn how to publicize, you learn how to address bigger people, bigger crowd, all that skills needed to be embedded in a group, then the group can move on.
Exactly, because I felt, being a musician myself, that any art form, if you want to bring it to the wider community, you need to wrap it in a, I would say, in a packaging that is understandable or which is communicable to a wider community. Say, probably I can sing, I have done with my band as well, probably sometimes we've done Indian classical as well in a form which is quite wrapped in Western music. So people could understand, okay, Western music I understand, but okay, different language, different type of singing or scaling. So that's how, and this is your understanding, and this is what your plan was initially, I understand.
Thank you. And also, there was a selfish reason, which is self-development. By that time, I was embedded with few mainstream organizations, isn't it, FARAH?
Yes.
I had been working for Exile Writers Inc. I had been in the panel of panel poets, one of the poets in education for Apples and Snakes, which is the largest poetry organization in this country. I had been working for Spread the Word, God knows what, and the Buds Without Borders, so many. And
Carousel Arts Unit.
Yes, all sorts of, that Farah knows better. So thing is that I thought in my mind, the things that I'm learning, things I'm absorbing like a sponge, I need to let go to my community and let them have a flavor of it.
Exactly.
So that is for my community. And the selfish reason is that to practice what I have achieved, what I have learned, what I am really learning too, no one is going to give any platform rather than.
It's also about sharing the knowledge. Once you do that, along with that selfish motivation, also there's a selfless motivation, I think, that combines together. And then Farah, a question for you, since you have been there, you're a founding member.
Yeah, she's a co-founder.
A co-founder. So definitely you have been through it all. There had been a lot of struggle as well, because if, say, for example, it was music, it was pretty easy to find a stage and do your performances. So what are the highlights or what are the struggles that you've faced in the last 5 years?
Actually, officially, we have started in 2016. I mean, that was the time when the group was formed and the name was given British Bangladeshi Poetry Collective.
Okay.
Before that, people knew it's a Bengali poets. As I said, our founding chair, Shamim Azad, wanted to bring everybody, every Bengali poets who writes in English, and also the poets who writes in Bangla, but we have taken them in our group also, so, translating their work. So we wanted to bring everybody in a common platform so we can let the world see that what the flavor of Bengali poetry is, and or like what sort of poetry the Bengali people who has got Bengali heritage write. So that's how the name British Bangladeshi Poetry Collective formed. So in 2016, when this group was formed, we have performed in Rich Peaks first, and then we have performed in the Poetry Palace, which is in Covent Garden, and that was hosted by Exile Writers Inc. So that were our first two performances, and since then we have performed. Since last 5 years, we have performed in the Poetry Palace in Covent Garden.
Was it always English poetry, but you invited, as I understand, that poetry or poets from all different communities, right?
Yes, poetry from all different community, but it was in English. We have the Bengali poets whose work we have translated. Shamim Azad, she herself has translated some of the poem. I have translated their poem, and with their translation, because the Bengali poets who has been writing in Bengali, like Bengali people, we do already know, what they write, but we couldn't get them to the greater audience. So it was necessary for us to get.
It's a very hard work, I understand. I would like to ask probably Shamim, since she had been doing the translations mostly.
Yes.
So, I mean, Shamim, what's your view on this translation? Do you feel that you can bring the same life, you can ingest that same life into that poetry when you are translating someone in a different language? It's a very hard work, isn't it? Even though it's a literature on its own.
It is a very small question, but the answer is really big. Yeah. The procedure that we follow is really very modern, and which is actually involving if I name the number one language as Bengali, number two is English. So the one poet we need who is from number one, and one poet we need from number two. But the number two should be aware of the Bengali culture and some kind of idea, and number one must have some good.
Vice versa.
Yes, vice versa. And maybe another day you can ask and we can go into the translation. But why I included translation? Because I thought the new generation who are writing in Bengali, they are the poets from diaspora. Their Bengali poems are completely different from the people who are writing from Bangladesh.
Okay, so that was the idea initially. To translate. So was it you only translating all the poetries, or there are some other poets as well who are doing it?
I mean, one of the major poet who had been a long-term friend to BBPC is Stephen Watts. I worked with Gary Chandler. I worked with Simon Etta. Of course, Farah was there. And also some young people who are not known as a poet. But they could work in a group in translation.
All right. So if someone is not, but they have the literary mind or a literary background. I mean, normally it's not like news. Like it's not a Bengali news I'm translating into English.
All I say is that you have to have interest in literature.
Okay, that's the thing. So if they understand what they're doing, because anyone can translate, say, a poetry of Jibanananda Das or, say, Binoy Mujumdar.
If I can add, Ershad, basically, how Ma was
just
saying.
In time.
I was just explaining. So I also learned it when I came here and I saw my mother, Shamim Azad, working on a translation project, and it was Nirmalindu Gun, who's amazing. We love him. And she was working one of his poems into English. And the way the working happens is a collaborative process. So you have a language one poet, an English poet, you have a Bengali poet, you have a group of people who are good at translating. And the whole thing happens through collaboration. So for example, there will be a line of the Nirmalindu Gun, Tomar Obhiman hoyechilo ki? So then the whole table discusses what are the best way to express the word Obhiman, because we all know it doesn't exist in English.
Rather than one person doing a whole poetry, it's absolutely a collaborative process. Okay.
Absolutely. And that collaboration, I think, is the closest you can come to representing a poem in another language.
So that brings me to the question, you joined last year. So
yes.
what you wanted to do differently, or is there anything that you wanted to do differently that you felt like that probably I should tweak here and there to make it even more functional? What was your idea? Anything that you'd like to mention?
Well, I think when Ma and Farah started it, and it was very important to welcome everyone in. When I joined last year, one of the things that I wanted to make clear is that it's a platform. BBPC is a platform for poets, definitely, but it's also for people who don't necessarily love or. One second. Is there an echo, or is it just from my end?
I can hear an echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from. I can hear echo.
Should I? Oh, now it's gone. Oh, no, it's still there. It's a very like loud echo. Anyway, so basically, what I realized is that this platform should be a place for. Oh, it's again started the echoing. It's not with anyone. It's just with me, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. It didn't happen with others, but it's okay. Let's we'll fix this one. But
Okay.
Finish the thought, and in the
Yeah,
meantime, we'll try to fix it.
The thought is that you don't have to be a poet. You don't have to necessarily think of yourself as a poet, but poetry has something to offer for anyone. As we discussed at the very beginning, it can be therapeutic. It can be something that you can overcome certain issue using poetry. So my idea was to use poems for us to reach to our heritage, showcase Bangladeshi heritage, but at the same time, as a person, discover poetry for yourself. And I think for the new generation, that's important. And as Shamim and Farah said beforehand, the main language had to be English because we are in England. So the way Bangladesh comes into our work and in our presentation is because we are of Bangladeshi heritage and through translation. I hope I answered your question, and sorry for the interruption, Ershad.
No, it's fine. And I think there's one thing I'd like to ask, because we had a very interesting process. Every time we would go to write or for the meetings, people would write, or you would initiate the poetry writing in a way of like a game. So it's like a gameplay. People are playing some kind of games. So I would like to mention today, so anyone who's watching tonight and have joined in Harmony with Ershad to watch the show, we'll have this game. She will play, or BBPC, everyone will BBPC along with myself. We'll play this game together. So how it works, that EESHITA will explain to you, and we'll have a theme. Let's put it that way. And we'll give you a time, and EESHITA will set the theme. And based on the theme, we'll ask you to write probably 4 lines, 8 lines, whatever you want. Then when we open the phone lines, then you can join, make the phone call, and you can share your poetry with us live. So we can have some live poetry writing today. And you can, even if you don't want to call, if you don't want to share it live, you can even leave it on the comment, and I'll read for the wider audience who is watching it. So, okay, EESHITA, back to you. So
Thank you.
I just gave out a little bit of idea, but you can explain it.
No, you explained it really well. So basically, when we have our poetry adda, which is our poetry meetings once a month, we always come together and we would do different things. One of the things we do is we write poetry using prompts, sometimes words, like a game. We'll have a game and then we share it. So
by the way, can I interrupt you? I'm just thinking, because I would like to mention to the audience that SHAMIM, she has another engagement today. She has just agreed to give us 30 minutes of her time. So just in case, I'm thinking probably it's time for her to leave because she's supposed to join another show. Am I right, Shamima?
Exactly. But before that, can I add into something what you
have
been talking about? The last thing is that to widen our group, to make access for other people, we thought it is British and Bangladeshi. So whoever is British, whoever has got interest in poetry, whoever want to be around the poets, I mean, we thought we should make a space for them. So this is why I think, it is getting...
So the idea is British Bangladeshi poets. They have organized the group, but it doesn't mean you have to be a British Bangladeshi poet. Any poet can join, but it's been founded by British Bangladeshi poets.
We give them the platform and
nice.
You can sing.
So yeah, you can share a poetry.
Having me. It was
no problem
wonderful.
at all. Our privilege.
Good luck, BBPC, with your show. And it's lovely to see you all. Thank you.
Shamima. So you have a great show as well. The next one you're going to. So, okay, EESHITA, back to you. Yeah. So if you could share with us the idea that what we're talking. So in the Poetry Adda, you would initiate with some kind of a theme, as you were saying.
Yeah. A game of writing a poem, and then we share it, we laugh, and we move on to other subjects sometimes. And usually at the end of the poetry meet, we also read out something of our own or something that we love.
Okay.
And that's
could
sort
be
of
by someone else's poetry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like your poetry contribution for the evening or for the meeting.
Yeah.
And what happens is, you get to discover new poems by other people and what other people are reading. So today, we would like to play a little poetry game with your audiences or your listeners who are on the other side of the laptop screen.
Or any part of the world.
Or any part of the world. The laptop with any part of the world.
Yeah.
And the theme that we would invite everyone to join in with us is actually the name of the event that we are doing, which is Coming of Age. So our event that we're doing for Season of Bangla Drama for Tower Hamlet Council is called Coming of Age Poetry. And coming of age can mean different things to different people, but we all know that when we think about the first instance when we realize that, you know what, boro hoye gechi, we're adults now, or we are not a kid anymore. That realization actually triggers off coming of age. I feel, and it can happen for people, but it can also happen for a community or even a country. So
when do you think, since you mentioned that one, sorry to interrupt you again.
Sure.
When do you think the coming of age really happens? Is it like when you have your 16th birthday or your 18th birthday, or how you look at it? It's a very difficult question. Some people never grow up even when they're 40.
Exactly. Which is why we have terms like man-child. Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, no.
But I'm thinking about a certain ex-president here when I talk about it.
Thank God, yeah.
So, I know, but basically that's the fun of it, isn't it? What triggers coming of age? Is it actually the age? When you say 21 and you can drink and drive and do anything you want, do you really become a grown-up, or it's much earlier or later? But what I would invite your audiences to do today, to share with us their coming of age story with 4 lines or 8 lines, because we want to keep it short.
Yeah.
And just it can be an incident, it can be a feeling, it can have a little mini story in it. And if they would write and share it with us, we'd feel very privileged.
Okay. So I'd like to just reiterate what you had mentioned. So for all the audience who are watching it tonight, you have this theme of coming of age. So any 4 lines, what it means to you. যে আপনি যখন মনে করলেন যে আপনি বড় হয়েছেন, সেটা কি বয়সের দিক থেকে বা চিন্তার দিক থেকে, ইমোশনাল ইন্টেলিজেন্স ও হোয়াটএভার ইউ কল ইট, তো কোন জায়গা থেকে আপনার কখন মনে হলো যে হ্যাঁ এখন মনে হয় আমার সেই জায়গাটা এসছে যখন নিজেকে আমি বুঝতে শিখেছি এবং বড় হওয়া বলতে আসলে কি বোঝায় সেটা বুঝতে শিখেছি. So you can share that idea with us. You can leave it on the comment. You can give us a phone call. The number would be on the screen. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see that. So you can join us, and I will give you the time in the meantime while we have this conversation. You'll have the time to write your own poetry or your own lines, whatever you come up with. So this is the idea, because I'm planning a show. I'd like to make a little announcement. Planning a show with EESHITA, just based on poetry. So it'll be a very interesting idea that we have been planning on for quite a while, and we'll be bringing it very soon to you, to wider audience. And definitely, I know that when we sing, because sometimes when I have singers, even when I'm singing, people are like, okay, I don't sing. How can I join in? You can definitely watch, you can enjoy it. But there are some people who don't sing, but they probably are very good at doing something else, probably writing lyrics or even poetry. So that's a platform, I'm thinking, that where people can join in. And I think anyone can write poetry in a sense that you can express yourself. There are unspoken words which you really can't articulate in words. And definitely you can do that one through poetry. So that's the idea behind that one. So anyway, EESHITA, so we have that one. And that's our idea for today.
And also, sorry,
yeah, please.
Ershad, can we just say, just for today, because some of a large number of your audience is in Bangladesh, আমি ওনাদের জন্য একটা কথা যদি বলতে পারি, সেটা হচ্ছে যে
Please.
কবিতা যদি আপনি বাংলায়ও লিখতে চান, আজকের জন্য সবকিছু জায়েজ।
Okay.
Because
Special
actually
program,
I want
special
to speak
episode.
out. Yes, why not? বাংলায় লিখলে অনেকের সময় ভাব প্রকাশে অনেক সুবিধা হয়, কাজে বাংলায় 4 লাইন 8 লাইন বয়ঃসন্ধির সেই সময়টা নিয়ে, যেই সময়ে আপনি ভেবেছিলেন যে অনেক সময় that can be tragic also. A tragic incident can push you.
When was the, okay, that's a difficult question. No, and it's right, really in public. Sometimes people are like, oh my God, what is he asking? So when did you really feel that you have come of age?
Okay, let's come back to that.
Okay.
Come back to that.
So that will be honest answer, do you think? Because you're taking the time. Because sometimes whatever it comes out straight away, that's an honest answer, you know.
It came in stages. Let's just say.
Okay.
So the first time was probably when I left my family home to go and study in university. So my first year away from my home, my support structure, my parents and my brother, I learned a lot about myself. I think that's very important. নিজের সম্পর্কে জানাটাই আসলে তো
definitely
coming of age. Second, I would say, you know, like I had my daughter, and আমার মেয়েটি যখন হলো, I think yeah, you stop being selfish all of a sudden, because everything in you just wants to protect this little being that you know somehow magically happened, because you know you were a conduit for this to happen. And that's amazing. So I would say that was one of the other moment. So, but
I'd like to plug at this time, I mean, at this point of the show, I'd like to mention that you have a poetry that you have written, just what you have mentioned. And I had the privilege of reciting that one. It was almost when...
Yes, you did. Absolutely.
So people can watch that one when you have the premiere is happening on the 18th. That's why we are together here. We're talking about it, especially what we're talking about, definitely about poetry, about BBPC. But one of the ideas we had, because 18th of November at 5:15 on Tower Hamlets Council's website, people have to get registered. You'll find on the comment, it's already pinned. So the link is there. You can register yourself for free. And on Eventbrite, you can come and join us. And you can watch the show. The premiere of the show would be there. I think it will be available for 48 hours, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So people can only watch the show. It's available for 48 hours. So you can click on the link once you're registered. Eventbrite will send you the link or the access of the ticket. And then you can watch it on the 18th of November at 5:15. But after that, there is a Q&A session as well.
Where all of us will join in.
Exactly. All the performers, and you are director of that show on the day. And you will be there. So any questions they have, or the audience and people who are watching today as well, if you have any questions, because you don't get to see the performance now, but you might have questions based on the things we're discussing. So anything you have in your mind, you can throw that question to us, and whoever finds it relevant, they will answer to you. And the Q&A session would be at 6:15 on that day.
Yes, absolutely. So when they register for free, they'll get 2 links, one to the streaming, which is at 5:15, and one to the Q&A session, which is at 6:15.
Okay. So today, the show we are having, we are talking about that special premiere show that's happening in Season of Bangla Drama. That's part of Season of Bangla Drama. And BBPC has a live performance, and it's a live streaming, I would say, because the performance have been recorded already. We have recorded that, but it will be premiered on the 18th of November. So, Farah, you are here now. So, when was your coming of age?
My coming of age, I keep coming of age every now and then. So, I mean,
you're right. I agree.
So at 10, at 18, and then 25 when I came here, when I became mother, and it's a continual process. Like, you know, coming of age to me is like, you know, a spiritual experience of maturing yourself, not only physical, but spiritual and emotional.
That reminds me of one of the poetry that one of our poets of BBPC, Simon Etta. what size chest do I need? That's one of the
To become a
poetry that
man.
to become a man. So
Agree.
yeah, that's one of the poetries that I have recited. So if you, whenever you're watching that show, we have our voices there. I have my live performance there, so you can catch me
Mhm.
live, and you have recitation from Ishita. Our voice is
Yes.
there on many of,
Yeah, of
but we
course.
have choreographed in a different way. So this is the first time. Why it's special? Because poetry writing and poetry recitation, spoken words performance we have seen, but
Mhm.
what's so special? Who'd like to answer this question? What's so special about this performance of BBPC on Season of Bangla Drama?
I'll start and then Farah can
Yeah.
fill in the gaps. I think, first of all, always whenever I am in a setting where poetry needs to be presented, I feel
Sorry,
like
in that case, in the meantime, can I include one of the performers as well? I
Of
think
sure,
course.
sure,
it's a
absolutely.
good
Who's
time. I
there?
think we can include Shumi, and if we have both Shumi and Rumi, we can add both of them.
Yes.
Okay, both of them.
Hi.
Okay, welcome, Rumi and Shumi. So because we have now the whole BBPC team who were there and who will be there on the premiere show of Season of Bangla
Yeah.
Drama, so it makes us full now. Let's start.
Girl power.
Um, no, so basically what happened was when we had to perform, our original idea was very different. It was audience interactive, and we were going to get all our poets to pick words from the audience and then write poems about it. And then we were going to perform those poems in front of the audience. The whole thing was really high energy, involving audience and writing poems there and then and performing. But that all changed when the COVID situation happened, and we all had to adhere to the government policy of having only 6 people on stage or 6 people in a bubble. So the film crew was in a different level, and for us, we needed to be minimum, maximum 6 people. So I had to choose 3 performers who would represent all the poems from all the BBPC poetry group. So, obviously, you ended up reading Simon's work. Rumi and Shumi also read out poems that I wrote, Farah wrote, but also other members of BBPC wrote. And we tried to make it as interesting within that confined. And I think we ended up really doing quite different stuff. I mean, what do you think? I'm asking Rumi and Shumi
Yeah,
here.
we definitely can't give out too many of the secrets, or in terms of people have to
True.
see what we have done. So that's why we want to talk about it. Okay, what we have done, but there is definitely. I would like to say we presented poetry in a very special way, in a different way. I would rather say, definitely it's been tried in different languages. Definitely people do try, but it hasn't happened before especially from the Bangladeshi community. It didn't happen. So let's put it that way. Yeah, please, Farah.
Regarding that, I would like to say, here I have seen people from Bengali origin has performed with the poetic words or poetry, but people has forgotten, there is a subtle difference, there is a fine line of tuning between theater and poetry, because when they have performed poetry, it more appeared like a theater, and the spoken words or poetry got lost in the work they have displayed. But here in BPPC, which Ishita Azad has directed, which everyone will be seeing, you'd see the fine tunings, poetry has remained the focal point,
The integrity
and
was there.
everything if followed, because it's very important when you present a poetry, that particular poetry needs to be loud. So that
Exactly.
we have done, and it's been done with a fine tuning. So I'm sure we wouldn't disappoint
No,
anyone.
definitely. And I think Rumi and Shumi, they're here and
They
performers as
have
well. I
done
mean, I
justice.
definitely can't speak for what I have done, what I've experienced, but it'd be interesting since we have two esteemed guests here. Shumi is very serious now. Okay. Okay, Shumi and Rumi. So I'd like to mention if the audience can see their names as well, so they will understand who I'm talking about. Okay, that's fine. So we have both Shumi and Rumi, you performed as well. So probably start with Shumi. If you can tell us what was uh, special, or what was what you found that it was quite different from everything else that you have seen before done with poetry?
First of all, I just enjoyed the whole experience. I just really enjoyed the whole process. It's quite new to me in terms of performance. Poetry writing I've done for a while, but not officially. So it was nice doing it as part of a group, and over lockdown, over this period, it was nice connecting through poetry. And the performance, it was just different styles. It was different to me. And like Farah said, you really heard the poetry, you felt the poetry, maybe saw the poetry, and it even I'm trying not to say parts of the performance is a secret, right? And so even parts of it, and people that maybe weren't part of that BBPC prior to this, they enjoyed it. And it was nice to see a newcomer come in and read the poetry, or see the poetry, or how it was performed, add their own flavor to it as well, and also experience it. And quite emotional. I saw a sort of emotional connection.
I mean, what we have done, definitely we can say we had given expression to the words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you really felt it. It was nice, and it's nice when you experience it from both sides, from writing it down, from being just writing the poetry to reading somebody else's. And sometimes you look apprehensive of the process, like you don't want to misrepresent a poem or written by someone else or anything, but you just put your heart and soul into it, and then you just like, and
how did you get over? I mean, if you ever felt nervous, because some of the things, say writing a poetry, it's a very thing you done in isolation. You just do it and you're with yourself. But when you are bringing it to the wider audience, even performing it in a certain way, which is choreographed, did you find it daunting?
Yeah, I think it's a pleasant type of excitement and nervousness all joined together. So it's just like a combination of the two. So, but all pleasurable, all good, all together. So, and it was nice because there were struggles along the way of how to represent it. There's always been these discussions about how to represent. Do we just read, or how can we present it? So this was a nice combination of all the ideas, and then some new ones thrown in. So I think you go over the nervousness. Everyone's really supportive in the group, and they support each other and encourage each other, and they're happy however it's presented. But thankfully everyone presented it lovely.
Now, we have a very good team, I would say. BBPC is a very healthy environment for a poet's or any creative person's growth, which is a very good thing that BBPC, and I would say kudos to the people who have started it. And EESHITA has been there. She's a director. And then FARAH, who's a co-founder, SHAMIM Appa. So the environment of BBPC is as such. Even there had been a lot of tense moments during the recording, I would recall. But EESHITA, you handled it very well, I would have to say. And we missed FARAH to a certain extent. You couldn't stay throughout the recording, but you were there. So RUMY, now over to you. What was the highlight for you of that performance, or whatever you have done? Because I would like to mention, you probably have to unmute yourself. I would like to mention in this connection that RUMY had played quite a big role, and she had to do a lot of work apart from just writing her poetry. So people would know when they watch it. I think we still can't hear you for some reason, RUMY. Can everyone hear RUMY? I can hear her. I don't know if RUMY is muted. But in the meantime, I would like to mention that for the registration, for your free tickets to watch the show, the premiere of the show on Eventbrite, you have this link that's already pinned on the comment section. If you click on the link, you have to register yourself. That's for free. And in Eventbrite, you'll get your tickets. So on the 18th of November at 5:15, the show would be premiered. You can watch it for 48 hours. It would be there on that link. So you can watch it there. But then after an hour from 5:15 at 6:15 on Zoom, there'll be a separate link that'll be sent to you once you get registered. You will have an option whether you'd like to just watch the premiere show or like to join in the Q&A session as well. So you have options, whether you'd like to do both or just one. So you'll be sent the Zoom link as well for the Q&A session, and then you can ask any questions based on the performance or anything or the process. Any questions you have, you can ask, and I think we are quite free to answer the questions, and hopefully everything will be quite good.
I'm looking forward to people joining in with their own poems at the end of the show today.
Yeah, I hope someone doesn't come on Zoom and say, okay, can you sing Ma by James? And can you sing that song? That'll be interesting. I mean, things happen even on live shows, and we can't stop it. On a Zoom link, someone comes and requests you to sing a Tagore song, probably. So that'll be interesting. But, you know, that's poetry too. If we can manage to do that, we'll do it.
Yes, absolutely. And I was just thinking, if you asked people to write on the chat their poems, if they don't want to come in on stage and say it, so if they do that on their chat, we can read it out for everyone as well.
Exactly. There's another thing that we'll be reading some of the poetries that all the poets present here today. We have many more who are not on screen because this show is a special episode we are doing just based on the performance on the season of Bangla drama. As Ishita mentioned, that we had a limit of 6 people that we could be there at any one time. So that's one of the reasons why only 5 of us were there. So based on that, we'll be reading out some of the poetries that have been written by some other poets of BBPC or even written by us. So that's one of the highlights as well of today's show. But in the meantime, as I said, today's theme, you said as well, coming of age. And it could be in Bengali, it could be in English. And if you write it in Hindi, please write it in English because I won't be able to read it out. Or none of us can probably.
Okay.
Or Urdu.
I didn't realize that might have been a possibility.
Yeah.
Should we...
Yeah, or someone comes up with Chinese, then that'll be fun. So in that case, they will have to phone me and they'll have to read it out. I mean, I don't know if I have any Chinese audience, but yeah, it can happen. You never know. The chances are there.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if Rumi is with us anymore. But in the meantime, probably Farah, you write.
Yes,
so we'll get people warmed up a little bit. How about you? Would you like to recite a poetry written by you or based on the theme coming of age?
Oh,
would you like to do it for us today?
Okay, let me go through it then. Before that, I just want to thank you, Rumi and Shumi, for performing. And it's been wonderful watching you all. And I would also like to thank on behalf of BBPC that whoever contributed in writing Nikhat.
It was a great privilege. I enjoy it.
Reggett, Sadiq Ahmed Chaudhary, Munira Munir, Simon Eater, and us.
Ershad ALAMGIR.
Ershad ALAMGIR, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a privilege to have you. You are a singer, you're a poet, and you write.
Thank you.
So
I enjoy.
We cherish you.
No, definitely. I mean, I enjoy. There's another thing I'd like to add: the sound design. People would hear because we have done some of the things. It's quite interesting presented. So there is quite a lot of sound designing had happened. So I was kindly offered to play that role, so I could do that. So you have a lot of interesting things. I'm just saying here and there some interesting tidbits, so you know what you're expecting. It's not only poetry, but expressing poetry in a whole different language.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think Farah's looking for a poem. Maybe Shumi can also read hers if she has it ready.
That's the director taking over. You see that? It's fine. I love that.
Yep, I can read one that Ershad I think you would like.
May I just say, so for the viewers, Shumi has this personality normally that's very subdued, but then when she is reading her poems, she sort of blooms. So I hope that happens today.
Oh, yes.
I'll try my best.
No pressure. No pressure.
Coming of age. Coming of age is accepting all parts of me, British Bangla mix. Develop we must as time passes by. Time to think and ponder why. Should I, shouldn't I? Perception of who am I? What is the sense of I? I is just you, me, we and I. Stand together and unite the essence of yours and mine. Be present. Coming of age is acceptance of everything meaning nothing and nothing meaning everything. Sit in the silence of our creation. Appreciate and absorb the revelation. You are everything you ever were or needed to be. You are free. I see you for you. How do you now see me? Thank you.
Thank you, Shumi. And it was interesting. I could see Shumi started smiling because I'd like to share at this point because it's almost like our slogan during that performance. I see you for you. How do you now see me? So yeah, we talk in that language now. So Shumi, you have done something. It's a great achievement. You know, when one of your lines, it becomes a staple that everyone's speaking
Yes.
that language. So it's a great thing you have done.
Thank you.
Actually,
So
funnily enough, a story of our countdown posters. So for promo, Nikhat Hawk, who's obviously not here, but she's part of BBPC and sort of handles our social media handles. So we do have groups. I'm sorry, I'm doing a little
no,
plug
no,
in.
please, please.
We have an Instagram group, BBPC_poetry. We have a Twitter, we have Facebook group and page. So there's, if you want to find us, you just type in BBPC or British Bangladeshi Poetry Collective, you can join us. So going back to the story, so Nikhat had been helping me create 10 posters for countdowns for every day for social media. And when it came my time to choose a few lines for Shumi, and the poster for Shumi, guess which one I chose?
I see you for you. How do you now see me? I remember this line now. I love that. So
Yeah,
this is one way of taunting Shumi as well, but she's such a team player. She never minds. I mean, this is the environment, what we are talking about. This is what BBPC is all about, that we have this teamwork and such a nice environment. So it'll be interesting for other people who are interested in poetry and want to collaborate, I think. I think we invite everyone with open arms so people can join in and try to be part of BBPC. Yeah. So, Farah, did you find the poetry that
Yes,
you'd like
I
to recite?
did.
Please.
But before I read my poetry, I just want to show this book. This is the first British Bengali anthology. It has been published in 2017, and this is the first one, I would say, which has been in English, because there has been an anthology of Bengali poets all around the world, but not the one which has been done completely English. So we have 13 poets from England, and this was edited by poet Shamim Azad and Stephen Watts, and this is the first flagship of British Bangladeshi Poetry Collective anthology. And we had the second edition, which came out in 2018 in the HAQUE Boy Mela, and we'll be having more poets in this book contributing.
So this was published in Bangladesh or in the UK?
This was published in Bangladesh by one of the eminent publication house, Agami Prokashani, and was edited by Shamim Azad.
And the one in 2018, who were publishing it?
Is the second edition came out
as well with
because
Agami.
we were because we were all sold out. So second edition has been sold out too. So we would like to have the third edition, but we would include more poets this time. Definitely
interesting. So people are definitely loving it.
So this is one of the first successful project, and second one is BBPC has performed for the BBC 60 Years of Civilization program, which was they held it in 2018, and BBC had the opportunity to perform at the West Greenwich Library and some other library, and also BBPC did perform at the Globe Road Poetry Festival, which was organized by the Queen Mary University, and we have kept doing our regular show. Shumi has been part of it, so she knows a lot too.
Perfect. I mean, that's the thing. It's a process that people have to go through that one. In the meantime, we have Taposhi Roy. Congrats, Rumi dear. Congrats, everybody. That's the message. I'm trying to find if there are any comments apart from Facebook. No, that's what I can see in the meantime. So yeah, Farah, please take over.
Yes. So since you said about the coming of age, so when
that
you
was
experience
EESHITA.
your first, but for me, I'm not sure. But when you experience your first heartbreak, so that is a coming of age too.
Okay, yeah.
So I would like to read one of the poem from that era. So it's called Solitary Tone.
Bold. That's what we call bold. Yeah. Good job.
So it's called In Solitary Tone. My heart ache and lonely pain I feel. It grows paler with gloomy thoughts. My sense die in numb distress. My spirit cries and silently fades away into the forest dim. I wandered, lonely as the cloud. The shade fall over the mountain and the hills with greater grief. I sing the song of spring. My words echoes far off through the dark veil. When earth fall asleep, my nights wait for some slumber to caress. I witness twilight of the night in silence and the darker share of my life. In carelessness I'm born, to weep alone, to see thy life fade, as lonely nightingale. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful. And what do you think about this? Sometimes people have the reservation, and especially Ishita and I were talking about it earlier today as well. That sometimes we find it quite daunting sharing our most intimate experiences, or the experiences, heartbreaks, even the good moments as well, or the bad moments. What do you think about that one? I mean, how do you feel about
Is it for
sharing
me?
this one? What's your reservation? Yeah, to you,
Oh,
especially since you
uh,
have, you put it out.
okay. So I would say, as you have said it earlier, the boldness, because when you realize, that that's part of you, that's part of your life, and you have the courage to come out of it, that's the time you show boldness, not in a negative way, boldness in a positive way, because you stand in a platform where you bring positivity and you can
It's
move
it's
forward.
it's bravery as opposed to,
Yeah, it's a
like
positive way.
cocky.
So
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
Thank
And
you.
you are also inspiring other people to come out as well and make themselves heard, and so people can hear their voice, because
Yes.
this experience is someone who hasn't reached that. I mean, for them, that coming of age hasn't happened yet through these
Mhm.
heartbreaks or these good moments. So probably from that they learn, okay, this is coming
Yeah.
for me, so probably I have to get ready for
I
that,
mean,
because
there is no
we have
taboo
different
in
stories but similar.
negative experiences of life we go through. So, if we go through any negative experience, it's nothing we should demean ourselves or we should demean other, because, it's a process, it's a stage everybody goes through. So
That's part of the journey.
we
That
should
makes you
come
what you
alive
are.
and kicking and stand. Here I
Exactly.
am. Thank you.
Like that, Farah. Like that. I
Thank you.
mean, we have definitely a very strong person as the founder. So now over to you, Ishita. Your coming of age poetry. So in the meantime, I hear there are a lot of comments. I'm trying to find them. So in the meantime, yeah, if we can go to Ishita in the meantime. Ishita is trying to find the poetry and recite, and I'll try to find the comments so I can read it out for people.
Before that, I have a question for you, Mr. Host.
Okay.
uh, Things I thought I should, what made you join BBPC, and why do you think it's different from any other group?
First of all, I have been writing ever since, I think, from my high school. I used to write stories, short stories. I had written 2 novels. I mean, it's all just manuscript. And then I had been part of a little mag in Bangladesh. That was, we used to practice all different kinds, like postmodernism and different kinds of poetry, experimentalism, and different things we have tried. And so poetry had always been with me, and I always do write poetry. And people know me as a musician, I do, and presenter, and a lot of other things. But the thing is, poetry, this is one of the things I haven't expressed it like that. But because the thing, you need to find like minded people, it's very important. Because sometimes you feel like, okay, sharing this intimate, like the expression you have today, and even every line you were reciting, you could probably visualize many things. So this is very private, and this is very precious as well for you. So if you are sharing it with a group who really can relate to that, then it's wasted. So I was waiting for that moment when I can feel that I would find some like-minded people who would understand that one, and with whom I can even grow even more. And that's the moment when Shamim Appa asked me, she invited me to come over and join one of the sessions of BBPC, and like those writing sessions and the meetings. And I've joined, and I felt, yeah, it's interesting because you can discuss poetry. And I like to discuss about literature, poetry, but as I said, it's a right forum. It has to be the right forum. So I felt that I found that with BBPC, and definitely, yeah, I'm so happy that I've done it. And thank you for giving me the opportunity as well, because we had other performers as well, a lot of talented people in the group, that I could be part of it, and I performed as well and performed some of the poetries written by others and my own poetry as well. So it was really a great opportunity. So thank you as well. Thank you, BBPC.
Okay, on that note, I'm going to read the poem. It's one of my poem that on the performance, Ershad actually recited.
Okay, yeah.
And we were talking about coming of age, and I mentioned when I had my daughter, it was for me as a human being, it was a milestone. But then when Ershad was reading it, and we heard him so many times because of the rehearsals, I forgot it's my poem. And it's because it was from a mother to daughter, it became a father to daughter. And I started calling him, okay, you know, your fatherhood poem is now up. So we had these really lovely moments because of this poem. I'm going to read it now. Like a bowl of bubbling milk, you heaved and became full, overflowing your banks with thick smell of cream engulfing us and you. Confused at your own emotion, the weight of it weighing on you. I look at you and I remember how it was to feel like bottled milk, rolling side to side on a moving deck with your ship sailing on blue sky and blue silk towards the unknown. In a minute, you will grow your seagull wings or become the wind in your sails or the pink-hued cloud smiling with possibilities. You don't know it yet, but you're made of magic. You will always be full in seconds, but from now on, you will be in charge of the weather around you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And I would like to read some comments in the meantime. We have quite a lot of people who have joined and left their comments. I apologize to them and that I didn't get to read it until now. So Shonali Mukta Roy, one of our top fans, by the way, she's a very good singer from Toronto. Nice to see you, Ershad Alamgir, after a long time. Congratulations. Yeah, she's a big fan of the show. Rizwana Kubir, thoughtful discussion. She's in the US. Hussein Fozlul Bari, he is one of, I would say, a top diplomat in the country and a good friend of mine and my batchmate. We studied law together, so very privileged, and he's doing a PhD at the moment in England. স্বর্ণালী মুক্ত রয় বাইরে থেকে যখন বাংলা সাহিত্য কথা কবিতা গান চর্চা করা হয় সত্যি গর্ব করার মতো ভেরি নাইস অফ ইউ থ্যাঙ্কস ফর দ্য ইন্সপিরেশন স্বর্ণালী মুক্তা রয় again বাকি সুন্দর করে বললেন শামীম আপা so it was about the explanations that we had and some clarifications about poetry translation. Johirul Mitu, I don't know if anyone knows him. No? Okay. শামীম আজাদ নামটার সাথে এত পরিচয় সেই বিচিত্রা থেকে তারপর তার কবিতা আজ শামীম আপা সহ সব কবির জন্য অশেষ ভালোবাসা. Welcome back, Rumi. Shihabuddin, hi Farapu, great going. So it's for Farah Shihabuddin. Probably you know him, right? Okay. Taposhi Roy, খুব সুন্দর অনুষ্ঠান, Johirul Mitu, কবিতা শুনবো. So that's what we are doing, Johirul Mitu. So I hope you are enjoying it. And congrats, Rumi dear. Congrats, everybody. That's from Taposhi Roy. So yeah, that's what the messages we had so far. And there's some live comments. Problem is that it's really hard sometimes to keep track of the comments because it comes on the live show screen and also separately on the post itself. So by the way, we have them all. And do I have Rumi now? So we have Rumi. So we have been missing you and you have joined. So it's probably straight away we'd ask you to recite something based on the theme coming of age.
Okay, brilliant. Sorry about the technical difficulties I was having.
You're here.
Yes, I'm here now. Okay, I'll be reciting a poem written by Shumi, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's I was 16 once.
Please.
Okay. I was 16 once, but it feels like a long time ago. I was different from the rest. I thought I was invincible. It seems I have not grown old. Only my body says otherwise. A day older or a day bolder. All I wanted was to dance. The world a playground, waiting to be explored. I couldn't think beyond sweet 16, but didn't know what it meant. So sometimes now, I take a moment to think exactly how old I am.
Wow, I love that poetry. Every time I listen to that, it's really a very good one. At the same time, it's a very good question. That's what I was asking to everyone. When do you think your coming of age happened? Because it doesn't come with age normally. You need to grow emotionally, the emotional intelligence you need to have. Because if you say that, okay, I'm 16, I'm 18 now, it doesn't come with that. So when did it happen for you, Rumi? When did you feel that, okay, I have come of age?
Absolutely. Actually, there's a question I would like to ask. Do we ever come of age?
That's another which I think Farah said it's a continuous thing that it keeps on happening every day. We learn from our mistakes, we grow.
Like the others said, it comes in stages. So once I reached 18, I thought, hey, I'm a grown up now. I'm an adult and I can vote. If I was to drink, I could drink. I could go out, whatever. It doesn't really work like that, does it? Then when I became a mother, I thought, okay, I'm an adult now. And then I thought, well, actually, now that I've reached a stage in my life where my daughter is older now I feel completely, yes, I'm in my element. I'm an adult. At the same time, do we really feel our age ever? So what is, like, if I was to ask you, Ershad, instead, like, how old do you feel? You may have a actual biological age, but how old do you actually emotionally feel? Do you feel your age? Because I don't.
That's a very good question because I believe in it. I think rest of the BBPC members, they would agree with me because how I look at it, even sometimes when people ask me, Ershad, how old are you now? I literally have to count it from my date of birth to now because I have forgotten. I really don't keep count of it.
Exactly.
I still feel like I can do the same things I used to do at high school. I can still jump on a wall and just jump from there, do whatever I like. Because I don't feel that. Sometimes, we kill that inner child we have once we grow up and we feel like, okay, I have to act my age and I really can't be myself, which is a crime against humanity, I would say, because we kill ourselves. So this is why I never think of age. It's as they say, it's a very cliche thing. It's just a number, and that's literally I look at it.
I mean, exactly, because just like you said, I have to think back. Actually, hang on, I am as old as I am, but I don't feel it. And it's like you said, age is a number, but I think at the same time, it depends on your experiences in your past that makes you, whether I have met 16-year-olds who are far more mature than, say, a 30-year-old.
Or even a 40-year-old, even a 50-year-old. You might say, because EESHITA was mentioning about man-child. So, and it's not only man-child. I think there are definitely a lot of women-child too. But the thing is, it's a thing that it's only your growth happens once you know the mistakes and you don't regret them, but you take them as a lesson for growth. I mean, that's when I think you come of age.
I think I now finally have come of age, I would say, because I base it on the fact that I am not I'm not aware, or I'm not really bothered by what others are thinking of me. I am able to kind of be myself, project myself out there, instead of, whereas when I was younger, I was always thinking, oh, hang on, but what would auntie so-and-so think, or what would brother so-and-so think? Now, you know what? Nah, this is my time. I'm living it. If it's your problem, it's your problem, not mine. And now, finally, I have come of age.
I think many people have noticed that, and I've been living like that, I think, for long time. For a long time, I've been like this. Sometimes you get branded as being arrogant. A lot of other things. People say, okay, he doesn't care or she doesn't care. But the thing is that you owe it to yourself. As a human being, you need to let yourself, because it's your one chance, I look at it, at life. And then if you lose this chance, this opportunity is once in a lifetime. By the way, do you feel like a bit we have lost our other members? I'm just thinking where the other members are. If we have them okay, we have them in the conversation. I was like, okay, where are they? Because, but it was an interesting conversation we were having, right? So I thought,
I was thinking, listening to Rumi and Ershad, that our next Poetry Adda that will happen in December, and usually we have our Poetry Addas on the last Thursday of every month. And this time the theme could be, we ask 2 questions to everyone who joins in. Hi, what's your name? How old are you? And how old is your heart or your soul?
I think on that note, and I think this is a very good moment where one of our trustee, Mike Reggett, he has a haiku rap.
Yes.
It's based on coming of age, and because many of the things, because all of us, I think we were saying that sporadically, and I think it sums up everything that we have been talking about in terms of coming of age. But with your permission, can I read that one?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's called coming.
I think I would ask, sorry, I am being a bit bossy
direct
here. But Shumi and Rumi, would you do what you did for the performance?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So who will start first? Rumi or Shumi?
I think I did on the first
Okay,
one.
let's do it. So it's a very interesting concept in a sense that it's one poetry, but kind of it'll be read by 3 people. So
Even though 3 people, I think it's like 3 stages of our lives, I would say.
Yeah,
like,
and different expressions.
Stages of our lives represented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, it's coming of age. That was the theme set by EESHITA. So let's do it. Taking those first steps without support from mother.
That's coming of age.
When baby gurgles shift into meaningful words.
That's coming of age.
Waving goodbye to childhood and the smaller stage.
That's coming of age.
First day at new school, so many strange new faces.
That's coming of age.
The stress of exams that will shape future plans.
That's coming of age.
A driving license, free to watch X-rated films.
That is coming of age.
Outraged by politics, weekend protests and marches.
That's coming of age.
Living dogmatic and becoming pragmatic.
That's coming of age.
Then falling in love, sharing life with another.
That's coming of age.
Had to fire someone today. Right, but hard. It hurt.
That's coming of age.
Children are born, love, and hard duty combine.
That's coming of age.
Life smooth and settled, but you feel something is missing.
That's coming of age.
New job on offer, life-changing risks to assess.
That's coming of age.
Love crumbles slowly, slides into messy divorce.
That's coming of age.
Finding a new self, life all on your own again.
That's coming of age.
When months pass in days and years are fleeting moments.
That's coming of age.
A loved one dies, and you are unfairly still alive.
That's coming of age.
Cancer calls, and fear becomes your sole emotion.
That's coming of age.
Yesterday's a blur, but ancient past crystal clear.
That's coming of age.
Life forces dimmer, all joys a distant glimmer. The end of an age. Thank you. Thank you. It was great to perform together on the show.
Yeah, it was nice again.
I love that. I love that. So I thought that since we are talking about coming of age, why shouldn't we do that? And in the meantime,
That's
I'd
a
like to
preview.
yeah, about that. And let's plug the premiere again. Because we have literally come towards the end of the show, and we'll have the concluding words, and we'd like to plug again the special premiere show that we are talking about today. So it's on the 18th of November at 5:15. The link, as you can see, it's already on the comment section. It's pinned. So you can go to Eventbrite website and register yourself free. And then you will be sent an email with the link to watch that show. The premiere would be, or the show would be on that link, available for 48 hours. So on that day, on the 18th of November, you can watch it. Then you can join for a Q&A session if you opt for that one during the registration of the ticket. It will be at 6:15 on the same day, and a Zoom link will be shared. So you can ask questions to all of us, the BBPC members, directors, and I think our chair will be there as well. Trustee will be there. So anyone you'd like to ask a question, they will be available. Am I right in saying that everyone will be present?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, Farah, please.
Yeah, I just want to ask Ishita, Azad, on behalf of you all. Like, you have 3 performers present here: Ershad, ALAMGIR, RUMY, HAQUE, and SHUMI Islam. So, would you like to share your experience of working with them? Like, how did you find
Nice
them?
question.
I was
Love that,
actually going
Farah.
to come to that.
Oh, stole your thunder.
It could be stealing happened because we share the same emotion.
Yeah.
Ishita, you
Poets
can be
after all.
brutally honest. You can be brutally honest.
Ishita is muted, I guess.
I'll be brutally honest. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Come on then.
All of you surprised me and delighted me.
It's mutual. It's mutual.
But there are some key points, if I may say, though. As I said before, Shumi started reading her poems. It was really nice for me to witness, from coming to the poetry meetings, and always she was very consistent. She's always very regular, but she sort of bloomed for the performance, and it was nice to witness that.
She learned to expand, right? That's the thing. Exactly. That was the idea we had.
Expand her range.
Yeah. That's one of the things of BBPC, I would say. See, these creative art forms, it helps people. Because your innermost personality that you couldn't probably bring out, but you found that medium, I guess. So that's a very interesting point.
I'd like to thank the BBPC for that opportunity, because I remember years ago when I met Shamim AZAD the first time, and it was at an event in Richmond. And I was introduced by a friend as a poet, and I wasn't very comfortable with that term of being introduced as a poet, and I went along with, okay, that is now my introduction. And Shamim Appa was really supportive and encouraging for people to join. And we were talking about discussions, and I think the BBPC concept came from that discussion amongst others. And I've been happy to be part of this group and support other people express themselves, essentially. So we're just expressing ourselves, whatever we identify ourselves as. And my background being totally different in science related and teaching. So it's been really enjoyable experience, because I've really had to push myself out of my comfort zone into performing arts and all sorts of things. But it's always been enjoyable and supportive, and I've enjoyed every step of it. So it was nice even having a poem printed in that edition of the book from that BBC printed a few years ago, and also these performance that we've just done. So I'm happy to go along with it and carry on performing and doing whatever is needed, and it would be lovely to see how it grows in the future. So thank you to everyone.
Great. Yes,
Yes,
please.
Rumi,
Yeah.
do I talk or do you talk?
Can I talk first?
Go on.
Shumi has already said, and we all know Shamim Azad in the community as a.
By the way, the ladies have stolen the show and they're running it. I'm happy. I'm gonna watch it. I'll be here.
Ershad, I'll come to you.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was going to say, we all know Shamim Azad, and even if we haven't worked with her, we know of her work. So that was like my comfort zone here in BBPC. However, what I wanted to say was EESHITA and FARAH was, they were the newbies for me. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect from these two ladies. And from working with them, and especially as EESHITA being the director, I would say it was a brilliant. I'm not saying this as a flattery to you, EESHITA, but this is genuinely what I felt. You actually gave a body to the words, and you were able to kind of, your concept was so clear that you knew what you wanted from your performers, and that's what kind of gave me the comfort that I knew, okay, if EESHITA knows what she's doing, then all I have to do is deliver what she wants, and I think I can do that. So that kind of gave me the what shall I say, the courage to carry on. Because before I had met EESHITA and FARAH, I thought, I don't know these guys and I've not really worked with them. How am I going to, okay, if it was Shamim Azad, I knew what to expect. But it was it was a brilliantly pleasant surprise for me. I shouldn't say surprise because obviously I didn't know you guys, but why I say surprise, because I don't know you and I haven't seen your work. So it was really good. I just love the fact that you gave such body, such physicality to written words, I would say. So thank you to you and FARAH. And Ershad, you I've not really known either, and Shumi, and you guys were just brilliant performers, and I learned so much from you. And then there was Mike and loads of other people in the background, and having met all the other poets, it was just brilliant. It was exhilarating experience for me. So thank you all.
No, you're welcome.
Wow. Thank you, Rumi. Thank you. And deliver she did. She said when I had the courage, or no, not confidence on EESHITA. Well, she did. She delivered tenfold. I think that's my one word description of Rumi Haq, is that she is unafraid. I can ask anything of her and I know that she will do it or try it. And she's not, which is an amazing thing, is like most people are really afraid of, how it's going to happen, and a lot of insecurity works. I think she's a very confident woman. So she's not afraid of making a fool of herself. And what she does instead is she never makes a fool of herself.
Thank you, EESHITA.
Wow.
Well,
Very
this
skilled.
is what it brings me. Like I said, I have come of age now, finally. all that can happen is, the worst that can happen is you guys laugh at me. Hey, I laugh at myself. That's the thing.
That wraps up the show really nicely. Coming of age, the theme. Yeah, please.
Two things very quickly. Ershad, he came in a little bit later, but dived in completely, being the only guy in the room, as well as being the representative of all the male voices. He had a very tough job, I think. But I mean, he was like jelly between all of us. Gelled us all together. So yeah, he was very.
Yeah, like I'm doing it today as well. Just sitting in the corner, top corner, as you can see.
And lastly, I have to include FARAH. Although she wasn't on stage, I would say that she's like the best. What should I say? So we are the two directors. There's two directors of BBPC, me and FARAH, and I am the director of the show. But I never feel alone because I feel like FARAH and me are always standing back to back.
You complement each other, because whatever you're missing out, she remembers.
Yeah. So we're like this. We're back to back. So we only have to look at one side, which is an amazing relief and a gift.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good eye for detail, Farah. I mean, that's what I've realized as well. And the voice of conscience.
It's like the glue that glues everyone together.
Okay, so I would leave this opportunity now for Farah and EESHITA. If you'd like to talk for the audience in terms of if you'd like to add anything, what I've already announced in terms of the show on the 18th, the premiere show. So if you'd like to add or you'd like to make the announcement yourself and invite people to get registered and enjoy the show and see what we are talking about.
Shall I go first, EESHITA, and then you can? Okay. We are going to have our show on 18th of November, 5:15 is the premiere. So we would welcome you all to watch our show. And also we'd like to welcome you to join our group. Any poets, any singer, anybody who has passion for poetry in any form can come, because we have poets have joined us from North America, Singapore, Bangladesh, and they are all virtually connected to us because we would like to leave our legacy. And on that note, I would like to read 2 lines of SHAMIM AZAD poets, which I really feel would let us feel what I'm saying. And that's what the BBC would like to leave, the legacy. I'm going to read the lines in Bangla. It's in Bangla, and just to honor our audience. So please. I hope she can connect. মানুষ চলে গেলে পালক ফেলে যায়, জাতি চিহ্ন খুঁড়ে খুঁড়ে পরশ বোলায়।
Bah, beautiful.
আবার বলো, it was too quick.
মানুষ চলে গেলে পালক ফেলে যায়, জাতি চিহ্ন খুঁড়ে খুঁড়ে পরশ বোলায়।
Thank you.
Very deep.
Like people leave, like what it's basically translated in English, like, you know, that when people leave, they leave the feathers, and the generation who comes, they look for that soft touch, that like, you know, whatever that person
that's been left
memories
behind.
that's left behind. So they move on with that touch or the memories. So
beautiful.
With BBPC, I think we can relate with that, because that's why we made BBPC.
It's going from strength to strength. So
there's definitely let's continue.
Yeah, definitely a lot of things we're expecting in the coming years and coming months as well. Even we made it happen during the lockdown.
Yes.
So it was even the rehearsals, people don't know that we had to do it on Zoom, and then even the performance, everything. But we managed to do the recording physically there. And yeah, so nothing is impossible.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. Yeah. And Rumi, I see you for you. How do you now see me?
How do you see me?
Exactly. So I had a great time today talking with the other members of BBPC and my teammate, I would say. So on that note, I'd like to conclude today's show. And thanks to every member of BBPC. We had Rumi Haq, Shumi, Shamim Azad, we had Farah Naz, and we had EESHITA Azad as well. So I hope you enjoyed the show. This is a special episode of In Harmony with Ershad. And as I said, there are a lot of interesting things coming up. And I'd like to mention that In Harmony with Ershad, I'm coming again this next week on a Saturday or a Thursday. You'll know with the promo, the perfect time of it, and when to watch the show. It will be a very special episode. And I have some new visions in the pipeline, and that would like to materialize in the coming days. Because this is the time of lockdown when many people need our help, and we should extend our hand together and we should try to help them out. And with this ended view, I have created, or I have visualized in terms of like envisioned some of the future episodes of In Harmony with Ershad. So I hope you'll be with me and we'll be watching it together. And to mention that it will be again with musicians from all around the world. So keep your eyes peeled for the next episode that's coming next week. And it will be a very special episode, I can guarantee. And I would like to thank everyone who had been with us tonight and who had watched the show with us. And thanks, as always, that you have been a great support, great inspiration. So on that note tonight, I would like to say